Dun, chicka-dun, dun, 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 chicka-dun, dun, 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 dun. Money!
It's a guess. Pink Floyd. We better stop now, the people switch off.
Yep.
We are reviewing, oh my God, and we're excited about this. Trust on bloody BBC2.
Yeah.
I thought it must have been Netflix or something.
I know what you mean. Sky Atlantic.
He
or
doesn't
something
like me
that.
saying how I feel right at the beginning. But
Yeah.
you might be able to guess how I feel about this.
Who's a Donald Sutherland fan? I'm a big Donald Sutherland fan. Or are you a Donald Sutherland fan?
Yeah, he's a great actor.
He's a great actor.
I mean, I don't ever think about him, but he's
I remember
a great
when I was a tiny toddler once at Waterloo Station, me and my mum came off a train from somewhere and he was standing there. I think he used to go out with an actress called Julie Christie. Was he? I think he was with her in a film. And my mum went over to him and said hello. And I remember him being very courteous to her. And I remember, isn't it funny when you were a kid? And it was probably the first famous person that we'd ever met. I remember that his face was so emblematic. Anyway, so I have a huge soft spot for Donald Sutherland. I don't have a man crush. He's a little bit too old for me for that. And in this portrayal of John Paul Getty,
Well, let's start with the really beginning, because we don't see him right at the beginning. It's a fantastic opening to a drama, really expansive shot.
Beautifully lush colours. Now,
Lush
directed by
colours.
Danny Boyle, who I've gone on record as saying, I'm not an enormous... Look, he's a very good, brilliant British director, don't get me wrong. Trainspotting was a great film, etc. But I don't think he's quite as original as everyone likes to make out. That said, you could feel the hand of a very, very experienced director on this.
Well, it was just a brilliant opening, brilliant choice of music.
Yeah.
Just like you say, really vibrant colours.
Running through a
Oh
sunflower
my God,
field.
that first scene, so shocking. And we're going to put a spoiler alert on this, or are we just going to
Spoiler alert, if you're watching this and you haven't seen the show, spoiler alert, turn off now, go somewhere else, go to a really popular YouTube channel where people know what the hell they're reviewing. Okay, you've been warned.
Yeah, so that
Brilliant
opening shot
moment.
with that suicide, quite extraordinary. I was screaming, I couldn't watch.
Hollywood 1973 with a rendition of Money.
It's a Guess.
It's a guess. Game or guess?
Yes.
And the camera does this really dinky thing of panning round through a pool party. In a life, I went to pool parties in LA. I wonder if that
They
life's
look very
still to
intimidating.
come.
I don't think I'd like to go to a pool party.
Well,
in
I
LA.
don't know.
Well, you've got to be really skinny. You've got to be really...
Maybe that's what was bothering this chap, who was, we find out was the son of John Paul Getty. Maybe that's what was bothering the chap in the garage, because he was off his nuts on barbiturates, cocaine, everything, you name it, he had taken it. And he proceeds to skewer himself with a barbecue fork.
Really was quite shocking. It was just brilliant. All the women
Brilliant, yeah.
banging on the garage door to try and get him to stop. You didn't believe it was going to happen right up until
No.
when it happened. And in fact, I didn't watch the actual puncture moment. I couldn't.
Well, like with Wanderlust, you don't watch sex, you don't watch violence. It's a wonder you watch anything.
Oh, but this is so good. This is so good. Then we move into Paul Getty's house.
Oh, and can I just talk about how they established his house? It was great, wasn't it? The release of the black swans.
Oh, yeah.
The black irises or tulips or whatever they were that were being put
Even
in the
the
garden.
swimming pool is black to look like
Yeah,
petrol, look
yeah,
like
yeah,
oil.
yeah.
Because, of course, he made all his money from oil. But you go into his home and pretty quickly, Donald Sutherland is so chilling.
Oh, he is.
And he has a gaggle of women, a harem, basically.
Gaggle because of the swans. I like what you're doing there.
And
Yeah, a
the
harem.
creeping horror came over us, didn't it? As we were going, oh, God, what? Are they all his girlfriends? Oh, God, he's bringing in another one. And
Yes.
you realise very quickly he is a sadist, he's a sociopath, he's a brute, and that you know that watching this character is going to be utterly brilliant. How many episodes is it?
I don't know. I think there's 8 or 10 or something. But guess
And the
what?
cast of women that are playing his
Well, it wasn't
What
what's
did
her
you
face
call them?
supposed to be in there? What was the name of the actress that you said? Hilary Swank. Where was she?
She's in it. She's not. Hasn't
She hasn't been. Oh right, okay. Well, a remarkable harem of women. The woman you recognise from Fortitude, playing a Teresa.
One of them was the GP for a while in EastEnders.
Little did she know she'd have to have a sex scene with Donald Sutherland back then, I bet. So anyway, clearly there's I know obviously we've all heard of John Paul Getty, but I don't know the story inside out.
You know little bits and pieces, don't you?
know
Like
about
you knew he washed his own socks. You knew he was really mean. You knew
Absolutely.
his grandson was kidnapped
at
and
some
he
point.
refused to pay
Yeah,
this ransom.
yeah.
So we knew he was a bastard. We knew he loved art, of course, because of the Paul Getty Museum.
Yeah, absolutely.
But here we're getting into the nitty-gritty, and he's surrounded in this house by people that are just compelled to stay with him because they want his money,
Yes.
but they also hate him. So it's going to be a really
Do you think
good
they
program
do
for anyone that feels unhappy about their financial situation, because this is going to prove money don't bring you happiness.
But do you think they actually just hate him? Is it that simple? Or is there a little bit of that sort of Stockholm syndrome thing going on
Well, I
there?
think Stockholm syndrome comes from having hated someone and
Well,
being.
true.
You know,
I mean-
No, I mean he's an unremittingly evil character, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah, I'd be interested to know how the Getty estate deal with this. I believe, if I'm correct in thinking this is based on a book that's been written about the Getty dynasty. But this series is only based on one chapter. So there's already plans to make 2 other series either side. So I don't know if it's dawned on you. It struck me as a little bit of a sort of 1970s American-style-y Downton Abbey, almost. It's almost like he
Yeah.
was the landed gentry of his time in a very
Yeah.
different way.
Yeah.
And so you.
I didn't realise he was living in this country.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's
and
in
making
this country. Yeah.
and using our
I think, is he not
Weak
English?
tax
Is he not
laws.
British? No. Was he using our tax laws?
How do you think he was British?
Or was he an American oilman who
No, I think he was
who
American.
took things?
But he talks about how he abused
Yeah.
the tax, and
Yeah.
there's this great scene where he explains to his son how his whole business works, and how actually he never pays tax.
Yeah, there's a very disturbing scene where he drives out of his estate, I think either to go to the funeral of George, his son, who skewered himself with the fork, and he runs over a black swan. And he squishes it. Did you watch that bit or did you look away?
I didn't realise it was a swan. I thought it was a crow.
No, they had a very long neck. I've never seen a crow with a long neck.
I didn't see the bit just before the impact.
Oh, okay. So anyway, so
What
he
about
does...
the horrible bit where he has his penis injected?
Well, Christ almighty. Well, anyway, so in his harem, he just decides who he wants to have sex with of an evening, and they come downstairs.
20 minutes.
20 minutes, he gives them a
And
shout.
it's so good. You have to
Yeah.
watch this series. It's so good.
Yeah.
And apparently they said afterwards, a bit dangerous for us, you can watch the entire series on BBC iPlayer. And
No, no, the
but
box
we
set's
can't.
available. No,
we
we
want to
can't.
go week by week for this.
We want to
We've
go
got
week
Ozark to
by
catch up
week, and
A
we've
week
got
by week.
Ozark to catch up on. So he draws alignment with his son. Some brilliant melodrama stuff here, which is straight out of a sort of
King
soap
Lear.
opera like Dynasty or Shakespeare's King Lear,
Yeah.
which they reference at the beginning,
Yeah.
where he brings his son to court for dinner, doesn't he, to discuss who's going to be the heir apparent in the Getty. To bypass him because he's taken a bit of a shine to the grandson, who's a bit of a hippy-dippy chap who's got himself into
Who's
trouble.
got an interest in art, so
He's
that's
got,
why
yeah, exactly. He mentioned he knew something about the Elgin marble. It's a bit like me. As soon as someone comes into this house and says, "Oh yeah, I love a bit of old Picasso," although I hate Picasso, I go, "Oh, do you?" You know, so it's very clever that the grandson sort of latched in. I thought Donald
But
Sutherland.
I think also that was a moment where we thought the grandson actually did have something about him.
But also, it was the one moment I saw something in Donald Sutherland, some humanity in Donald Sutherland. Because the danger with Donald Sutherland's character is he's just monstrous extreme. And you just hate him and all that. But there were lots of lingering moments where, for example, when he was furious about his other waster sons, and one of his many wives or partners came in and said, "You're mourning the loss of your son. Don't be so
He
hard."
said, "Am I?
He said, "Am I?"
So I didn't know.
Am
It's
I
like,
really?
he's not in touch
Yeah.
with, and he's got no feelings, has he? He's a sociopath.
Sociopath. And what better way of an evening than to watch a show after a night of wanderlust where Donald Sutherland has his penis injected?
So
Make
that
it
he
go-
can shag one of his many girlfriends.
A more efficient way of doing it than having that chap read a book. That was a bit.
there's one
That was
scene.
very repulsive. Anyway, suffice it to say.
we both highly. I am going to give this 10 out of 10. It was
Wow.
a faultless piece of drama for me.
Terror of terrors.
What would
10
you
out
give
of
it?
10.
We don't usually do this. We only usually do this with our movie reviews.
I really, really like it. I mean, I tell you, I'm not usually bothered by this. I thought too much music was underlaid through too many scenes.
I didn't.
Yeah, I don't know. Tell us what you thought. Tell us what you think. I'm a big
wanna
fan of
see your
music all over it.
comments.
But
We wanna see your
yeah, I
comments.
really liked it. And so, of course, by the end of the show, we're in a situation where we presume we're on the imminent threshold of his grandson being kidnapped. So
Well, we are.
Well, of
There's a
course we
hood
are.
over his
Well,
head.
I mean, yes, okay. And then
We
he's
know he
running
gets
through a field.
kidnapped anyway. It's very famous News story.
Anyway, well, there you go. I'm tuning in again. I enjoyed it. I liked it. Well done, Donald Sutherland. Lovely to see him. It's sort of a slight...
Okay, let's not just talk about Donald Sutherland, though. The entire cast.
No, the entire cast. And guess who one of his
Butler.
sons is?
Fantastic.
Butler was very good. And one of his sons, I believe, is the actor who runs the boatyard in Bloodlines.
I'm not convinced.
Who I think is a brilliant actor.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I think... But also, Donald Sutherland slightly reprising his role in Hunger Games. He was a little bit like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay.
That's
I
been
enjoyed that. I
annoying
hope
the
that
whole
wasn't your
time.
neck. That sounded like your neck.
You know, you've got one of those that's
Ooh.
itching your neck.
Okay. Anyway, glad I haven't got thousands of sons I have to work out who the heir apparent is.
Night.
Night.
Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed this review.